Welcome to another episode of World Traveler Cooking. In this Friday episode, we're going to make a wonderful Javanese goat stew called Tongseng Kambing. Tongseng Kambing is, it's not really a curry in the same way that gulai kambing was. This is, as I say, very much a stew. It's a stew with coconut milk and some other things, so we'll go through all the ingredients. And it may be seen as a little different compared to what when we think of for Western stews, but still very should be relatively familiar. And this will build on all the basic points of Indonesian cooking. So, actually, I'm going to move this for the explanation. I'm going to move these over here. So, for our ingredients, I have 1 kilogram of goat meat. This may or may not be cut yet. I'm hoping it's cut. If it's not, I will have to cut it. I will probably use around 100 milliliters of this thick coconut milk, maybe a bit more. I'm out of candlenuts at the moment, and so I will be adding more coconut milk, more coconut cream rather, to compensate. I'm going to add a couple of these daud salam leaves. You can usually get these in stores specializing in Indonesian ingredients. If you can't get them, you can substitute maybe 1 or 2 bay leaves instead. I'll also be adding 4 tomatoes and 2 stalks of green onion. In addition, we will use about a little over half a kilogram of cabbage. So that's basically our main vegetable component. We will also apply a spice paste, which will be made with a little bit of galangal. This is optional, you don't have to use it. About this much, maybe a little less, turmeric. Again, this is optional. And then a whole bunch of shallots and onions. I would say approximately, 16 shallots, 8 or to 12, I would say 12 cloves of garlic. If you're using European shallots, maybe 4 or 5 European shallots would be fine, but since this is all getting cooked and thrown into a broth, you can use more if you like. We'll also add 8 chili peppers, red chili peppers. You don't have to add as much, you can add more, depends on how spicy you like it. We'll use 3 lime leaves. These are also optional, not everybody adds them, but I'm going to. Some ground coriander, about a teaspoon of black pepper, and then sort of the 2 main Javanese, or one of the main Javanese ingredients we'll add is this so-called kecap manis, or sweet soy sauce. This is a soy sauce which has palm sugar added, and it's very delicious. We will add a bit of salt, and we will add 1 stalk of lemongrass. So, I guess the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the goat meat if it's not already cut, and I will put it on to boil in 3 liters of water. And basically I'm just going to cook that until it's tender. While it's cooking, I will prepare the spice paste, and then we'll get going. So we're going to discard the water anyway, so it doesn't have to be exactly 3 liters. At any rate, I've set this on to boil, and while it is cooking, let's get the spice paste set up. So I have decided to infuse the coconut milk with the galangal, so I'll set that aside. But the turmeric I am definitely putting into the spice mixture. So, of course, I'm going to peel my garlic and shallots, and we'll be back for the grinding. Now, I'm going to use an ulik here. If you don't have an ulik, which I assume most of you don't, you could pre-grind these spices. You could grate the nutmeg and grind the pepper through a pepper grinder. And then you could put everything in a food processor, but I'm not going to do that here. So I'm going to start with these dry spices here. And I take the nutmeg, I'm going to pound it. That will break up the nutmeg a fair bit. And then I'm just going to grind everything here in a circular motion until that's nicely ground. Then I'm going to add, then I'll show you how I handle the turmeric. Now, I think generally Indonesians prefer a really fine grind on these. I don't find it that important, but it's definitely, with a little practice, you can get a really fine grind really fast. This is already pretty darn fine. If I wanted to grind the coriander, I would do that also, but I have some pre-ground coriander that I need to use, so I'm just going ahead and dump some of that in. So about a teaspoon or two. Should be good. So for the turmeric, I'm going to take it and I'm going to pound it. This will spread out all the fibers. Now you can cut the turmeric and infuse the coconut milk with it, but usually if people do that, they're going to pound it anyway and they will roast it. And so if I roast it here as part of the spice mixture, that seems just as well. I would also typically add my candlenuts here, but since I don't have any, I'm not going to add them at this point. You can see how quickly this grinds into relatively fine grind. Next, I'm going to add a tablespoon of salt, and I'll start on the garlic. Here's my salt. I'm going to add garlic. I'm going to mash it a bit, and I will again grind it in a circular motion. This won't take very long. I'll be back when I'm ready to add the shallots. Okay, so next step is to infuse the coconut milk, and you can add the turmeric here as well. And some people add ginger, but not everybody does. And so I'm just doing this with the galangal now. And I'm just going to heat this very slowly. And then in another pan I'm going to cook my spice paste. In fact, I'm probably going to move this onto the small burner just so that it doesn't overheat. Because if you overheat the coconut milk too much, it can break and then you won't get a nice sauce out of it. So next we're going to cook our spice paste. So a couple tablespoons of oil. No, this is not olive oil. 2 to 4 tablespoons. And you can totally eyeball that. And when you're done, once that's on, we're going to add the spice paste. And we're going to cook this until it is very fragrant. And then we will add it to that coconut mixture that we've been infusing with the galangal. We'll probably add some water to that as well. But yeah, we'll just keep cooking this for a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to add my aromatics, so the daud salam, the lime leaf, and the salam leaf to this coconut mixture, and we'll just let that cook as well. And it really doesn't take very long, just a couple of minutes. This is already really fragrant, so I'm going to go ahead and add it to the coconut mixture. And then we'll go on. Now basically we're just waiting for the goat to be nice and tender, and I don't think that'll take very long. And here's the coconut mixture after adding this. spice paste. I'm also going to go ahead and add about a tablespoon of kecap manis. This is that sweet soy sauce. Again, totally eyeball it. And stir that around. It's nice. So this is kind of like a little bit of a light curry. It's not really a heavy curry. And in just a couple minutes, I will add the goat and the veggies. So now the goat is getting there. So I'm going to add my veggies. You could just pour off the goat and strain it, but I'm just going to use some tongs and pull it all out. And normally, most people I think would add water. I'm actually going to add some of this goat broth in here to thin out the coconut milk. A few ladles of goat broth. So now let's let this get to a boil, and we'll just boil this together. And we may need to add a little more coconut milk or goat broth. My guess is we may need a little more goat broth, but I think this will be fine. And we're just going to kind of stew this together, and if we need to, we will, as I say, add more coconut milk and or more goat broth, and we should have this very nice. So we're just going to cook this now until the vegetables are done, and then we'll be ready for a taste test. So for the taste test, I'm just going to scoop some of this out onto a bowl with rice, and I'll add some sauce afterwards. You could, of course, add them together maybe with a ladle, but if you want a much nicer presentation, well, this isn't turning out that nice as far as a presentation, but it'll be fine. And then I'm just going to take a little sauce and add it together. Then I'll garnish this with a little bit of daud salam, and now I'm ready for the taste test. And now for the taste test. So I just got a bunch of veggies, some rice and the sauce, and man, that was delicious. Depth of flavor, amazing depth of flavor, amazing aromatics. It's quite delicious. Now I'm going to try some of the goat. You can see right away why this is such of a classic flavor combination. The goat gives you wonderful earthiness that anchors in those aromatics and the bit of spiciness. And it's actually not too spicy, it's just a bit spicy. On the whole, this is freaking delicious. Highly recommend it. Definitely going to recommend making this over and over and over again. Now, if you find this content interesting, I hope I've earned a like and a subscription from you. Please check down below where you can find, follow, and support my work. And please like this video, subscribe to the channel, helps this channel grow, free to do, all that sort of thing. But recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.